So listen, you don't have to do this promo about Spin the Wheel live. This is a tape show. And so you write in your book that you had a match in Phoenix on Friday night and you have to drive. And I guess there was an issue with your convertible. What's the story with that?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know it was in Phoenix. I thought the issue was when I flew to New Orleans one day ahead of time. I had a 84 Chrysler LeBaron that occasionally had troubles with the convertible top.
Oh.
And I couldn't get it to connect. I couldn't get it to lock down, and it was raining. But I thought, you know what? Like I'm going to be going 60 miles per hour. The rain's going to just, I'll be okay to drive to the airport. It was about a 45-minute drive, but it was a torrential downpour. I mean, I arrived.
So you drove in the rain in a torrential downpour in a convertible,
rain, and I was chilled to the bone. It's even though it's Georgia, it's late October. It's not Saskatchewan, right? It's not New England, but still, man,
with the breeze,
the
temperature,
rain,
and the water.
Oh man! So by the time I got to New Orleans, the day before, I was in rough shape. Oh man, rough.
Was the car ruined?
No. It was 10 years. It was 9 years old. It wasn't. There was a little damage, but I was.
You kept driving it.
Yeah, I kept driving it for another.
Who am I talking
years.
to? Of course, you kept driving it.
Yeah.
So listen, let's talk about the match. Meltzer had a lot of strong opinions about it coming out of it, and he said, the Cactus Jack Vader main event exemplified what is beginning to turn into a dangerous trend in this business. Not disturbing to fans because many love matches such as this. It's disturbing because the element of risk and injury is being flirted with too closely when matches as stiff and legitimately brutal as this and other recent matches have turned out to be. I was actually planning on writing this before the Havoc show, with the main emphasis being on the plight of the All Japan Women's Promotion in 1993 and the daredevil tactics of Sabu, but Vader and Jack put on a match that was one of the best of the year and in many ways defines the problem. Now, you've heard this criticism for a long time, and certainly fans online say it today, about some of the more daredevil type stunts like we may see from a Darby Allin.
Yeah.
It was a pretty controversial moment. I'm sure you saw a couple of pay-per-views ago from AEW where Christian threw him onto the stairs from the ring apron onto the floor. It was pretty brutal looking, and a lot of fans, have an opinion about that. I sort of say, hey, let's leave it to the professionals. But when you would read this from someone whose opinion at the time you greatly valued, like Dave Meltzer, did you think in the course of this match you were pushing it too far? With the exception of the one planned injury spot that didn't work out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Otherwise,
I don't know. Some of the guys who were really highly regarded from the glory days of All Japan are struggling. Masawa was
killed in the ring.
They work this strong style, which means you bring it with the forearms.
And you get dropped on your head.
You get dropped on your head. We would Leon. It wasn't just snug. It was stiff, real stiff. And when Leon opened up my eyebrow, man, that's some impressive. It just looks different. It's got a different feel to it. It was like a dark red, and it was really dramatic. You can't have those matches every night.
No.
But for a blow-off, hey, I would do 100 of those before I would take a few of those ladder bumps that people do in Money in the Bank. Because I look at those, and anytime I say, I hate to see people do it, they go, hey, what about this and this? I go, there are some moments there where I go, God, to this day, I'm grateful to grateful to God that Sasha Banks is still walking, because she took a bump going crossways, not with it. And I just, oh my God, people want to point out things I did and say that was much more dangerous than that. They can. I'm just telling you, somebody knows the anatomy and what, the limits we can.
You've pushed the limits further than most.
I see certain things that I'm not comfortable with, that I don't think are safe. And other than the move that was in there specifically to end my career and did not,
You felt good about it.
I felt good about it. I was okay. I mean, there were house shows like the one in Manchester, UK, where we brought it all out. But it wasn't like Leon was breaking my nose every night or splitting my eyebrow every night. You know, I mean, there's a time and a place, and I thought that was the time and the place. I think Dave's got a legitimate look. There's a reason why I had to leave wrestling full time
Early.
at the peak of my earning.
Yes.
You know, if I'd been a little wiser, if I'd thought to add one more move to my repertoire, which would have been boom, block the chair, right? Easy, you know. I struggle walking largely because of that one move, the elbow on the concrete. You know, there are other things, knee injuries that come along, but as far as just really shaking up my skeletal structure, you know, that elbow was the worst thing I could possibly
Because you did it
do.
so consistently?
Consistently, and I was 300 pounds.
Like
doing
Hogan
it.
with the leg drop, really.
Yeah, you think to yourself, well, that doesn't even look like much, but you're like, here's a 300-pound man coming down night after night with one leg slightly above the other, so you're jarring your vertebrae.
Falling on wood and steel.
I mean, I remember talking with Hulk where he was 4 inches taller than me, and now when I talk to Hulk, he's about the same height as me, and that's after I've shrunk a couple inches.
Yeah.
So that wreaked havoc on the Hulkster's body. So, and nobody would have thought, oh, that's too extreme.
It's
at
a
that
leg
time.
drop.
It's a leg drop. So, I mean, I think people could have looked at that. I don't think whereas all the veterans, kid, you know, you're going to be in a wheelchair, kid, you know, you're going to do it. They were all right. Not about the wheelchair, but it was every bit as bad for my body as a lot of the veterans said. I don't think anybody was pulling Hulk aside saying, this is going to mess up your entire life because you're dropping a leg. But you don't know sometimes you don't know where the true injuries are coming from. I'm just saying I'm going to stick with my statement that ladder matches, especially the really dangerous things, are worse than anything I did, other than the one move that was designed to end my career intentionally.
And maybe getting thrown through the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, but I'm speaking specifically about that match with Leon.
Sure. So Meltzer would say there's going to be a can you top this mentality to pro wrestling. Younger wrestlers are constantly learning from and imitating those who have stretched the boundaries of their imagination when it comes to brutality and acrobatics. And because of that, despite the cries that this isn't so from old timers, the actual in-ring product constantly evolves and constantly improves unless it's stifled by those who can't bear to let go of the past. But with improvements, if the new ways continue, either stiffer or more realistically brutal blows, easy for me to say, as in Japan, as in Mexico with the higher risk acrobatics, it comes with an increase in the dangers. And at what point do the risks exceed the potential rewards? And you had that down to a science. And remind everybody about your...
The Foley instantaneous risk-reward ratio analysis.
I love that.